can let it roll for a little bit. Just straight on you. You're rolling and you're on and everything, so don't pick your nose or do anything embarrassing. Okay, so we're taping. Looks pretty good, actually. You want to say that today is February?
Today is February.
Wait, you spoke over me, so pause for a minute and then...
Hello. Today is February 16th, 2011 at Moxie Studios. This interview is being directed by Shann Carr.
And we're off and running. So John, just start us out by telling us how you got started as a DJ.
I got started as a DJ pretty much in Elyria, Ohio. It's a small city outside of Cleveland, where we only had one radio station called CKLW, where they would play the Motown sound. And I really liked that, especially the divas, the female vocals and all that. And got really into wanting to be a DJ at a radio station. Of course, that was near impossible in the day. So I built my own station, a pirate radio station, with the 2 turntables and everything, and did that and played music and for the locals over a pirate radio station, which I did get busted for, and parents had me tear that down. And then I moved to San Francisco with my partner, who I'm still with, Jerry, and I went to a bar called The Rendezvous in San Francisco down on Sutter Street, where they actually had a DJ booth with the 2 turntables, and it was set up kind of like a radio station. In fact, it was called K-Gay, K-G-A-Y, which I thought was kind of funny. And I go, you know, I want to do that. And long story short, I went on to there was a local neighborhood bar where we used to live in right off Market Street near the Castro in San Francisco, called the Mine Shaft. And that's when they were playing music with the DJ, and I don't even know who it was at the time, but people were dancing like crazy under a gazebo with lights and major sound systems, like a rock concert situation. I go, I really want to do that job. I really lucked out, right time, right place. I saw the owner the next day, and I said I could do that, and that's how I got in to play DJ at the Mine Shaft.
Okay, just for my own benefit, I'm going to hit to video and stuff. You don't want to be terribly slow.
No.
So, okay, stop recording.
Huh?
Want some water?
I don't know what I do with it. Yeah, that's all right.
Okay.
That's like
Okay, we are rolling. There's no hurry, though. Take a sip if you need one.
Good. Part 1.
Right, yes.
Take one.
Gay men and women were coming to San Francisco in droves for freedom and power. Tell us about the beginning of the San Francisco disco scene.
The San Francisco disco scene kind of exploded with the local bars making dance floors with the DJs, like I was saying earlier, where they would play and excite the crowd.
All right, take 2.
The San Francisco...
Hang on. You still spoke too quickly after I said take 2.
Okay.
So I'm going to say it again.
The question is, tell us about the beginning of the San Francisco disco scene. That's what I want to know.
Tell us about the beginning of the San Francisco disco scene.
The beginning of the San Francisco disco scene started around 71, 72, when many of the local, quote, gay bars were adding dance floors and DJs with simple turntables and stuff, where gay people, gay men and women, young, would meet like a church experience every night. The bars would be packed every night, and they would come, and everybody would be social and all this. Even better yet was same-sex dancing, which was totally unheard of back in that day. So that was kind of neat how the whole evolution of the gay scene in San Francisco, it really was part of the disco thing, because the media got involved. Record companies started noticing that we were making hits out of records that were never on the radio. Record store owners are coming in, what were you playing? The customers coming upstairs asking, you know, where did you get this? How do I get this? And so on.
Cut. Good. Okay, so you kind of did answer all of that now. Talk about what was going on in that club. This is all still part of, you were at the Mine Shaft. Talk about what was going on in the San Francisco gay scene.
It was an exhilarating time. That's where he's going. I could ad-lib on that a bit.
Okay.
About the Mine Shaft.
Hold for a minute.
It was a very exhilarating time, especially like the Mine Shaft, and the young people there was a drug culture too. Everybody would do this thing, poppers and on the dance floor, and sex and freedom. We just got out of the hippie era from the Haight-Ashbury, so it kind of moved to the next neighborhood, to Castro, and everybody was free sex and love. And oh my God, as a young gay man, it was really something else. And to be a DJ, to make the evening, I felt like kind of a rock star-y kind of thing. I would entertain the entire evening from 9 to 2 o'clock closing, and sometimes later. It was a lot of fun, and that's all I got. Same sex does. It was church meeting play. I can
Okay, so maybe they can just come right out at for the entire evening.
Yeah, and I'll do a little more on Mind Shaft about the gay thing.
Okay.
Are we filming?
Hold.
The Mind Shaft, it was interesting with the gay liberation exploding. There was like a lot of anti-gay sentiment going on. We would get bomb scares at the nightclub just about once a week. We'd clear the bar out, or the discotheque at the time, and the cops would come and the fire department and check it. There was nothing going on, and everybody would go back in like nothing happened.
Cut. Okay, so the only one comment I want to make is stop saying quote unquote and stop doing this.
Okay, got it.
Because you keep doing that.
Okay.
Okay? All right, I'm going to take you to the next question, which is, did you have any idea that you were at the beginning of a phenomenon and that you would be honored as being San Francisco's first pioneer named DJ with a following?
Let me see.
Okay, well, that face was good. That, oh my gosh, me with a name being... So I'm going to ask you that question again. Get your answer ready in your head. Okay? Did you have any idea that you were at the beginning of a phenomenon and that you would be honored as being San Francisco's first pioneer named DJ with a following? Wait, again. Now there's an airplane.
Oh, good.
Well, that's just part of the...
Are you able to pause, or you just...
No, it'll just roll. We'll capture the things we want. It's uncommon for them to be going this way from here. It's really high, too.
There's a storm coming.
Okay, I'm just going to ask you the end of the sentence as that plane starts to head away. I'm going to ask you the whole thing again. Did you have any idea that you were at the beginning of a phenomenon and that you would be honored as being San Francisco's first pioneer named DJ with a following?
I didn't really think that it would be a phenomenon and that I would become a named DJ, I guess, until later at another club called the City Discotheque, which was like a super disco with the super lights, the super sound. I was a DJ. They made a booth made out of a jukebox, and I was in it. And then the press started coming, and everything kind of exploded, That's when I kind of noticed. And also when I switched from the first club, the Mind Shaft, to the City Discotheque, I did have a following of people that followed me to this nightclub. And it was pretty cool.
Cool. Now see, I keep thinking of questions now, but
you can go ahead and ask the questions.
Well, okay, let's wait again for whatever that big truck far away is. Whatever that is. The problem with inside is lighting is never good unless you have a whole light kit in a studio. You wind up yellow and creepy, so
much better.
Little audio issues is not as big a deal.
No, it's not that bad.
Okay, so my question is, when was the first time somebody came up to you on the street and said, "Oh my God, you're Johnny Disco"?
Oh boy. Actually, it was a really cute kid. I remember his name was Rob, and he goes, "Oh my God, I love the music you're playing. What nights are you working and all this?" And it really was like a celebrity moment, which I've never experienced in my life. It was like a drug, quite frankly, and enjoyed that a lot.
And you're out. Okay, one more piece of advice. They really don't want my voice in there, right? And so in order for my voice to be taken out of it entirely, you almost have to
ask the question.
Answer the question after I've asked it. So you would say, the first time somebody ever came up to me on the street and recognized me. So that's how you would answer that.
That would go with that question, okay.
Okay, so go ahead and answer that question one more time. I'm asking, when was the first time somebody came up on the street and recognized Johnny Disco?
The first time that I really knew that it was happening and I became a celebrity and became, quote, Johnny Disco, was when this really cute guy on Castro Street came up to me and was telling me how much he loved my music last night, what nights was I playing, where did I buy my records, who was my favorite artist. It was really a moment, is like a drug, very addicting.
And the bug falls
That's all right.
in your face.
That's all right.
You want to try it one more time?
Yeah.
I know it gets harder to say it naturally the third time, but let's just do it one more time in case. So, when was the first time somebody came up and said, "Oh my God, you're Johnny Disco"?
I gotta say, the first time it really known that there was a phenomenon with the DJ being like a celebrity star was one day I was walking down Castro Street, and it was the first time I got recognized by a fan. And he came running up to me. He was really good looking, and I was just blown away. He goes, "I just love your music so much." He wanted to know when I was working, what nights, where did I buy my records, stuff like that. It was just like a drug.
That was actually your best take anyway, your most concise take anyway. All right, so that wasn't even one of their questions. Here we go. Talk about the clubs you played in: Mineshaft, City Disco, Oil Can Harry's. So you kind of have touched on that, but maybe just go 1, 2, 3, how you got through those.
We'll go, yeah, and I'll go. I'll tell you about some of the clubs that I worked at.
Right.
All right, you're right.
Or not even I'll tell you, just say some of the clubs I worked at.
Some of the clubs I worked at, the first major one was the Mineshaft in the Castro, which was a unique little neighborhood bar, but could fit a couple hundred people in it. And what was so neat about it is the DJ booth. They didn't have booths back then. They had like a little room that you'd have to crawl up a ladder through the ceiling in the roof, and there'd be a little cubby hole that you'd look out to the dance floor. But boy, that was my home. I loved that. I had my little 45 RPM records mixing from side A to side B. It was quite neat. Then I moved on to that club. They don't last very long in San Francisco. They're there for a minute, and then there's the next thing. So I was hired at this super disco called the City Discotheque on Broadway and Montgomery in downtown San Francisco. It was 3 levels. Super, super, super. They had like lighting, unbelievable. It looked like a spaceship over the dance floor. Again, rock speaker.
Sorry. Still, they are taking off the wrong direction today, of course.
Conspiracy.
I know. So actually, you're just going to start on the second disco.
Yeah, I'm going to go to the City.
Don't start yet. That would be really, really gone. And it's still not. It's funny, there will be birds.
I got to keep looking at you.
Yeah.
The City Disco was my second job. It was kind of like the job that really kicked disco, was happening, kicked my career like crazy. It was a super disco, 3 stories tall, with a super spaceship-like lighting thing over the dance floor, rock and roll speakers everywhere. I was in a DJ booth that was shaped like a jukebox. I was in it wearing a cowboy hat and controlling this crowd. It was like a power thing. Really enjoyed that a lot, and it was good times at the City. That's when the disco, they started calling it disco, was really starting to happen. The press was coming in, always wanted to interview me, like stupid questions like, "When do you listen to disco music? You mean you listen to it when you wake up in the morning?" I go, "Yeah, I listen to it when I wake up in the morning. It's happy music." And I really got into learning how at the City, how to really do mainstream, because there'd be thousands of people coming through that place. It was really nice. And that's when, again, I can't not stress how suddenly the DJ became very important to the music industry, which is...
Boris is in the shot now.
Well, that's okay.
You totally did leave your topic, though. You're talking about the 3 clubs,
okay.
1, 2, and 3.
All right.
So then just, once that plane is gone, you're going to start with the next club. The third club was whatever, Oil Can Harry's?
Yeah. Yeah, they got enough.
Yeah. Hang on.
Boris out.
Boris, go on. Go on. Go. Go. He wasn't, and then all of a sudden he leaned around and... Okay. All right, we're going for the next... you're going to talk about Oil Can Harry's.
Okay. They just love me today. Just when I don't need you over here. Oil Can Harry's was
okay, wait. Take a breath before you say Oil Can Harry's.
The next club after the City I worked at was my super gay bar, I call it, because the city was very commercial, downtown, straight, gay, which was okay. But I moved on to Oil Can Harry's, which had another thing a DJ loves. It's a fantastic sound system, like a rock star system. And this guy, Bruce Tronson Sound, did whatever I wanted. I was just really getting into, this is where mixing was getting, like you had a beat mix, line up the records from one song to the next, and take your crowd on an energy thing for hours. It was quite amazing. Oil Can Harry's was like the super gay bar before the super gay bars came up, and we'll tell you about that a little later. That's bad on the interview. Okay.
That's because who knows what order they're going to go on. All right. Do you know anything about like where the word disco came from?
It's from France.
Is that a question they've probably already asked?
They probably already asked Audrey or something. I don't know. The word disco, we're still filming now. Where did the word disco come from? It's discotheque, and I believe it was a nightclub in France. Don't know all that. We'll see.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Talk about your favorite records that you mixed and produced.
Okay. I could tell you some about my favorite records I mixed or produced. First, I got into the business with Fantasy Records because I became. Take two. I got to itch my nose.
So I'm going to ask you how you got into the business of spinning.
No, it's actually he's asking me.
Okay, the specific records
that I enjoyed working with Sylvester. This is where it gets into Patrick Cowley,
Okay.
which the older people they really want to hear about.
All right.
Yeah. What was
Tell me about the records that you most enjoyed spinning and producing.
The records I enjoyed mixing and producing, of course, Sylvester, superstar singer from Fantasy Records. I was brought in with my partner Marty Blecman to do mixing at Fantasy Records in Berkeley, California, and that's when we would take whatever they laid on the tracks and decide what would go on, adding the kick drum and the drums to make it more danceable and longer. Everything went from 3 minutes to 8-minute versions, sometimes the whole album side. Then Patrick Cowley. When I was working at the city, there was a young man who did the lighting at the disco. His name was Patrick Cowley. And this is just about the time when Marty Blecman, who I grew up with, was also a DJ at the city, decided to start a record label, Megatone Records. And Patrick Cowley, we found out, was a man that would play synthesizers all the time and was really into the disco music scene and wanted to make music. And Patrick Cowley played on just about every single record that I worked on that became a hit.
Okay, so you keep, when you end, you keep like closing your eyes.
I know, because I'm trying to think.
Okay, but like more if you feel like you're at the end, just give it a nod.
Yeah.
Right? At least you can go out on a nod.
Okay, got it.
And then you can close your eyes and think. So.
Because I'm trying to get all these people in at once, so I should go.
Okay, the stuff, the tighter.
Patrick Cowley, Sylvester.
We're talking about your favorite records that you mixed and produced.
Okay, we'll go back, because they could edit this, I'm telling you.
Right, yeah.
Favorite records that I produced, or I would say mixed, first off, would have been Sylvester's Body Strong, Can't Stop Dancing. Anything by Sylvester was always a thrill, because he would come in and help us on the controls and explain what he was doing, and it was like, he was a pretty big star, and I was very overwhelmed, but learned a lot. And his original producer, Harvey Fuqua, who basically discovered me to get into the studio with Fantasy, also taught me how to do this, and that's where I kind of learned that I could do this too myself, and it was kind of fun, which I started doing. I'm nodding. I'm terrible at this.
It's okay. You're okay. They'll find stuff.
Yeah.
You've answered that question a couple times. Is there another thing that you produced yourself that you want to toss in that you really had a good time with, and start clean with that?
Lisa. We have a record company called Moby Dick Records, where I produced a record with Barry Blum, and we did it with Mary Buffett and Peter Buffett Studios. The same Buffetts, by the way, That's blah blah cancel.
Jimmy Buffett?
Jimmy Buffett.
Yeah, you started with the word
Warren
Lisa,
Buffett.
and then you went on. So just start with...
One of my favorite productions was the Lisa album. It was a non-stop disco album that was recorded for Moby Dick Records, also out of San Francisco, legendary music company. And we have airplanes going overhead because we live in Palm Springs, California.
And there is nowhere to be away from airplanes.
Yeah.
Give it a second. That one's not even... It's just sitting on the runway, coming down this way. Just landed. Okay, one more time.
Yeah, we're almost done, too. Kind of. Okay, Lisa was one of my favorite albums. It was one of the first production I did that was like a non-stop album with Moby Dick Records, a legendary music company right in the Castro. And I produced it with my friend Barry Blum. And we did it at Independent Sound with Peter Buffett Engineering, the same Peter Buffett whose father is Warren Buffett, the richest man in the world. What are the odds of that? But he was such a creative person and really taught me a lot in the studio too. And we got a #1 hit out of this album. Lisa, Jump, Shout, and Rocket to Your Heart. And that was kind of fun.
Perfect. There you go.
I want to talk about Joe Carroll.
Okay, let's do that. She's on the list. Talk about your relationships with Sylvester, Patrick, Marty, Lisa, Joe
Marty.
Carroll. So
let me talk about Marty. I'd like to talk about...
don't tell me what you're going to talk about. Just say...
Too many
Right, just say, I loved Joe Carroll, or I started with Marty.
Okay. I started with Marty Blecman, a childhood friend that I grew up with in San Francisco. We worked together, loved music together. He was in a band that I produced back in the day. What happened?
The ice cream man is coming by now.
I hear it. Jeez. We're doing
Okay,
great.
second, 2, 3.
My friend Marty Blecman, we grew up together back in Cleveland, Ohio. And we both had a passion for disco music. And we were discovered, like I said, at Fantasy Records, where we go in remix records like Sylvester, Lisa, and stuff like that. And I am just tongue-tied. When you did that, it threw me off. My eye crossed.
It's okay. So, again, pick up your tempo a little. Think of tight sentences and energy.
Marty Blecman, my friend Marty Blecman, boy, what a team we were. It was Blecman and Hedges Productions. We would produce records for Fantasy Records, Moby Dick Records, his own record company. He started his own record company, Megatone Records. Had a great time. Marty was a detailed person, which sometimes drove me nuts, but perfection's a good thing, and learned a lot from him. He died too young. I wish he was around now to be in this interview, because he knew all the stars. He brought Sylvester back on the scene. Everybody else about Sylvester. Sylvester was in between contracts with Fantasy Records and had no place to go. We ran into him at a bar. Marty and I would drink at this place called the I-Beam in the Haight-Ashbury. And here's Sylvester. We were just talking, and I was working on a record with just the tracks. Didn't even know who the singer was going to be, with Tip Warwick, and had these songs. Don't Stop, You're Moving Me. You may remember that one. And we decided to sign Sylvester with Megatone Records. Marty Blecman's.
That's a perfect place to end anyway, though, too. I don't know what's going on, but that's how it goes. I want you to go to Joe Carroll next.
Yeah.
I know you're giving yourself some nerves now, but stand up for a second. Just shake out everything.
Actually, I'm all right. I know how it goes.
Just shake it out. Give it another little burst of
energy.
Oxygen going through your body.
I'd like to talk about Joe Carroll. Blah, blah, blah. Joe Carroll.
Joe
My
Carroll
friend.
was.
Joe Carroll. Joe Carroll was my friend. And a ball of talent. You ready?
And a ball of talent. All right, you're still rolling. Wait.
Joe Carroll, my friend, a ball of talent, a genius. Joe Carroll Block, Joe Carroll Davison, Joe Lowe. She was the sound arranger, vocal arranger of almost every song I ever did, and almost every song on Fantasy Records. Unbelievable woman, friend, singer. We had a hit with a song called Last Call. I miss her so dearly. She, another person that died so young of a brain aneurysm in San Francisco. But Jo Carroll is on almost every single record that I've ever produced, and pretty much anything that came out of San Francisco, because she was a Patrick Cowley singer.
Good.
I want to talk about Fever.
Fever?
And this is all out of sync.
It's okay.
Fever. Fever was my first long, non-stop hurricane.
Oh my God!
The winds they talk about.
Jesus criminy!
This is kind of cool. We have this on tape. Fever was our first production that I ever did with Marty Blecman and Fantasy Records on our own, where Fantasy actually signed us to a contract to produce this group out of Cleveland, Ohio. And it was a non-stop record. You know, side A and B, they actually were vinyl records back in the day, and there was 3 songs on each side, all segued together. It's kind of an inside joke. We wanted to make this so DJs could go to the bathroom, because you were always stuck on there. And so we would give them 3 songs, you know, with a story and a production like you would do a movie in a record. And it became a #1 Billboard hit. And Fever got us into the door even more so, where everybody was coming after us. Once that hit Billboard #1 chart, all the producers and people wanted us to remix their songs. And that was a lot of fun, even jazz artists. We got that.
Perfect. Yep. Oh, where did it blow away?
Next
now,
is
every dog has to be here in the mix. Okay, hang on.
the beautiful.
The next question is going to be
What was Bada?
Right?
That's a pretty short answer.
Think about how you're going to answer it and how you're going to wrap it up. How you're going to finish that answer. Give it 5, 4, planes leaving, 2.
BATA was the Bay Area Disco DJ Association. BATA was an organization started to get all the DJs locally in San Francisco to have a one spot where we'd meet and talk about music, where the record companies could drop ship like a case of 50 records. This would save them time and money. And if any sound effects go wrong...
I know! One more time, 2, 1...
I forgot where I was. Okay.
BATA. Wait.
BATA. BATA stands for the Bay Area Disco DJ Association. BATA was an organization where DJs would join. It was a non-profit organization. It's a place where we'd get together and discuss music and stuff. What was ideal about it was the record companies were able to drop ship like 50, 60 records, how many members we had at the time, and the DJs would review them on a sheet and send it back to them, and they would get feedback and know what was going on. It was a great thing for the record companies, because we were getting so powerful in making records, because a lot of this music never got on the radio. They were selling hundreds of thousands of records around the country through gay bars, just with record play in a discotheque. Quite amazing.
Is there one thing that BATA did that had a huge impact on you that made your life bigger, better, easier, more profitable?
Didn't you start that?
I started. We gotta stop a minute. We're getting hurricane winds here.
Oh my God! Something just flew into my eyeball.
Yeah, we got so far to go.
Shit.
We just, where were we?
I was just asking one thing. Anything else about BATA?
That's pretty much about BATA. I started
Did you
BATA.
start? Well, just then say. In fact, I started BATA. And
in fact, I started
wait
BATA.
until I'm done.
In fact, I started BATA with my friend John Rando.
Start a little bit louder and.
In fact, I started the Bay Area Disco DJ Association, better known as BATA, with my friend John Randazzo.
Great. Okay. All right, talk about winning the Billboard Award for Best DJ in 1976.
Winning the DJ award.
Well, don't just say 1976. Go ahead and say it.
1976, I won the Best DJ Award in San Francisco. That was a turning point in my career. It gave me major credibility with the record companies, my fans, the media, my co-DJs. It was a life-changing thing, I believe, because Billboard magazine, it was
Stop.
like...
I just want a little bit more energy. You look serious, and
I know.
so
Because it pisses me off. I remember this story. I was told that I may win the Best DJ Award in 1976 when I was working at the City Disco. And my boss at the time, who will remain nameless, would not allow me to go to New York City. So I didn't find this out until that I won the Best DJ until about a week later from Tom Hayden from TSR Records by telephone. But the good upside to this, winning the Best DJ thing, I was, extremely excited, obviously, Billboard magazine. And the press came running. It gave me major credibility with my co-DJs, the media, business people and alike, Start Bata, the record pool. It was a turning point in my life, in my career. And I was the first one in San Francisco to win this. And many of my other friends won this, and it really moved their careers too. Fair enough?
better, yes. What other DJs, performers, producers, remixers, people have inspired you? Who's inspired you? Don't just say, I was inspired by.
I was inspired by a lot of people in this business. I would say, first off, would be Harvey Fuqua, who unfortunately recently passed away. I'm going to start that again.
Okay. Keep the volume up.
I was inspired by...
Keep the volume down.
My director.
Start again.
I was inspired by many people in my career. One especially was Harvey Fuqua. He was the producer originally for Sylvester. He's the one who taught me how to work the controls in the studio, along with the engineers and stuff like that. And of course, Patrick Cowley, unbelievable. He comes into the studio with these little boxes, tape boxes making echo chambers to do all these fabulous sound effects that made him so famous even today. Pet Shop Boys even credit Patrick Cowley. Tip Warwick is another person. I did the All I Need album with him for Megatone Records. He was a guitar player, had his own studio downtown, and we produced a hit record for Sylvester with Do You Wanna Funk on it and Don't Stop, You're Moving Me, stuff like that. I'm pausing because there's many I want to mention.
Okay. Just start with their name, whatever it is. Wait.
DJ-wise, the first DJ that really turned my head around about DJ mixing was when I was in New York City one time. His name was Jim Burgess. He played in downtown Greenwich Village 12 West discotheque. Grace Jones was there that night. She came out of the floor, but that was really cool in itself. But the really neat thing was the DJ, one song went to the other, beat matched, which I didn't know what the hell that was going on at that day. But the crowd was going nuts. And it was just the energy level kept going up and up. The DJ, the tempo would go up, and he kept mixing and making it better. Definitely Jim Burgess changed the way disco DJs would play. I brought that back home to San Francisco and turned it on to a lot of people where I got variable speed turntables, and it was a lot of fun.
I'm sorry, but that thing was coming. I was just going to have you end that one. Come somewhere towards the end of that. Once this, I just hear the ice cream guy.
Okay.
You were doing well.
You'll probably take clips and just...
Oh, yeah. Well, and as a matter of fact, if we have a couple of hours on either Saturday or Sunday, we can sit down and watch it and only upload the bits you already want, right? So you don't have all the fumbles and stuff, right. and we can... That
would be nice. I really appreciate what you're doing, Shann. Let's see.
Okay. You were in the end of, like, upload clips and multi-something, so start midway, whatever that was. You brought something back, and...
When I got back from New York City, take 3,000. Coming back from New York City, I was so overwhelmed with beat mixing. This is the thing, I had to tell Tronson Sound, that's when I worked at Oil Kind Harry's, that I have to have these turntables with variable speeds on them. This was the thing, the big thing to entertain people and to move people through the entire evening. And Jim Burgess, I have to say, was totally a changing thing in my career as DJ. Many other DJs then of the future would come in and hang out at my little window and watch me mixing and hearing the monitors and lining up, and it was really a changing time in the disco era.
Good.
I know I blinked again.
Good, no, you're good. That's all right.
I want to go.
Okay, you are, unless there's someone else.
Yes, there
What
are.
does this say? Live Park? Super something?
I still want to mention a couple other people.
Okay.
Barry Blum. Barry Blum, really
Wait,
good.
start again and just say his name once instead of twice.
Barry Blum. We met doing our first record in a basement downtown San Francisco, and this doesn't make any sense.
I met Barry Blum.
Yeah.
Don't just say his name and then, right?
I met Barry Blum.
Stop.
While the jets were flying, or you can pause it.
We also have a recording studio in our house. We also have a recording studio in our house.
Yeah, I noticed so many.
Still hear it. 2.
I met Barry Blum while I was working for Moby Dick Records. They wanted us to produce an album, and that's where we discovered Lisa. She was a punk rock singer, and he was a punk rock guitar player. And his name was Barry Bean. But he did not want to use his real name because he didn't want to be associated with disco, because at this period of time, bands were really ticked off at the clubs for hiring DJs instead of hiring bands. Even got to a point where the unions were trying to make it a law where the bands would play and the DJs could only play on their break. There was kind of a revolt with customers, and that did not last very long. Anyways, Barry Blum, we just really hit it off. And he had a studio downtown in a basement, and we put together a song called Jump Shout, and brought in Lisa, recorded in Richmond, California, in this place, God forbidden place someplace. Had it mixed by Bill Motley from Moby Dick Records, who also inspired me tremendously. And that record became a #1 hit. Very happy for that. So Barry Blum and I worked on Last Call with Joe Carroll. Many songs. We had our own studio in our house. He was an engineer, a great talent.
Good.
Then I want to mention 3 more people, and then we can move on. I don't want to get in because they're going to kill me. And closing. That's good.
You don't want any in closing.
No. Lester Temple, my friend, mixer. It's interesting, once I got into the production, being a producer and stuff, you learn where you never can say stop. You know, so I would produce these songs, and have 24, 48 tracks of music, and trying to mix them, I could never get it the way I wanted it, because there was always something I want to change. I always wanted to change. Lester was a friend and DJ. We used to work together at Oil Can Harry's. We just hit it off. Lester's the type of person that you could bring in, give him those 48 tracks. He listens to them, pulls out the best of it, which a good mixer does, and puts it together as a package, and it pops out fantastic. Lester Temple, #1 mixer, I think.
Great, you got right on the time. Let that guy go.
And I got some more people.
Okay. Hang on to him. Okay, 5. 4.
I have this.
3.
Bobby Vitteretti and Steve
Two.
Fabus
Hang on.
Get me started, Jim.
One.
Bobby Vetteretti, superstar DJ from San Francisco. Best DJ, I believe, twice. Always inspired by him. He used to work at the Trocadero Transfers, like the super gay church. Talk about gay liberation. All this was happening. The Trocadero Transfer and Bobby Vetteretti just go together. He inspired me a lot of kind of the mixing. He would literally come in with reel-to-reel tape recorders of his evening of taking a song and remixing it before we beatbox and what they do today. He would literally plan his show ahead of time and going till all hours of the morning, which I could never do. I was getting way past that point. I was a 2 o'clock DJ. Bobby Vetteretti, inspiration to many DJs, and good man.
What is that? A rice grinder? It's a tiny little thing. Okay,
I'm going to mention Steve Fabus real quickly.
And now I'm going to ask you some impromptu questions quickly, just to see what comes out of you. Still waiting.
How's this working, Jerry?
Good, good.
It's good, yeah. 5, 4, 3, 2.
Steve Fabus, another inspirational DJ. Steve was like the all-night DJ, you know, when things are settling down. I think he worked at the Probe in Los Angeles. I could never do that, and I always respected him for his talent to keep that crowd there till like 6, 7 a.m. in the morning. A slower beat song, but really good songs, and he's still working to this day. It just...
You know what? I want you to do this one again with a little bit more speed, because
Okay.
you paused between every third
That's what
word.
I'm thinking.
It's okay. So now you've kind of thought it through. Okay.
Steve Fabus. Boy, what an inspiration. He was a different sort of DJ, because he could do the all-night DJ gig. You know, people would come in after the bars would close at 2 o'clock and go to their other club, like the Probe in Los Angeles, which he played at, I'm pretty sure, and would keep those people going till 6, 7, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, till the sun's up in the morning. I'm sure a few drugs helped there, but that was what we did in those days. You know, we'd stay up all night and party. It was really gay, lib, sex, drugs, and rock and roll. But Steve, super DJ.
Okay.
All right. Then we're at closing comments, but you could ask us a question.
Do you have some closing comments? You know what they are? Go ahead and get your job done first.
Okay. I miss a lot of friends that died during the AIDS epidemic. The gay liberation through the 70s was stunning. I really miss them. There was so much talent. It's even emotional. I can't even talk about just now.
Oh, baby.
I'm sorry. Boy, it got me on this one. I really miss... Boy, I'm needing this, I guess. I really miss my friend Marty Blecman, Joe Carroll. I don't know, I've just been in the right place, right time, a lucky man. I can't do any more of this.
Give
Sorry.
yourself a break. It's okay. It's real.
I need makeup.
No, you don't.
You gotta make it funny, Shann.
Get up and walk around the church.
I think there's a whole spectrum. There's real, there's hard, there's funny, there's honest.
Crying on film.
Crying. Everybody loves a good crying guy.
Let me see. I was just lucky. Patrick Cowley. It was such a moving time in gay history. I'm just happy to be part of it. And it's still going. It just amazes me. I have friends that are DJs that were told this is just a fad. Disco's just a fad. Here they are in their 50s and 60s and still playing. I'm still playing. I'm going to be 62 next month. Pretty amazing.
Okay. Tell us an embarrassing moment with you and Marty. Something crazy, something funny that happened.
Marty Blecman, I got an embarrassing moment. Record companies would come. They'd want you to play their records. Thelma Houston had this song called Don't Leave Me This Way. Everybody knows that song. Marty was trying to make it big in the DJ world. Just started his record company, and but really liked DJing. He was a musician and wanted to play and impress everybody. Turns out all these record executives are here in town. Thelma Houston's in the place. He puts on the record's playing. He gets so excited he's jumping around. He hits the ultimate that the DJs hate. Knock the needle. And brutal crowd back in those days, those dancers. Booing and hissing. It was so embarrassing. That was not my most embarrassing moment. Maybe a little bit. Kind of funny. I'm glad it was him and not me.
That's good. Something Joe Carroll did that was kind of public or funny. Maybe even at a, well, I don't know.
Joe Carroll.
The Woods. Seeing them at the Woods Theater Stories play.
Joe Carroll was my bud. We would always, party. We were party animals. Write songs and make music and pretty much party. It's really not true. Usually we just party. It was no business, but she was such a firecracker. That's all I got to say. I was trying to think of something embarrassing. I think we always embarrass ourselves in a bar. We'd always go drinking all the time, but just my friend. I can't think of anything embarrassing.
That's
Shann.
okay. That's okay.
I can't think of anything.
How about Sylvester and a wardrobe malfunction?
No, Sylvester, was a costume queen. I remember recording, doing a mix on, I think, the All I Need album, and it was always about clothes and diamonds and all this stuff. And he would come in one day just with a pouch of diamonds, because this is his thing. He wanted diamonds, and I thought that was pretty amazing. He spent all his money, by the way, on diamonds and clothing. I got a little side story on Sylvester. He came to the studio. He had just been in jail. He's busted in New York City. Pause. This is a good one. I have a 2 times at Sylvester, and then I'll stop.
Chicken story.
Fried chicken story.
Chicken story. God, my little treadmill knees are
I know.
from locked up or something. I'm like, why are my knees sore? But okay, you're waiting. Oh God, I could use a sipping.
I know. My emotions are running high. It's amazing when you start talking about the past.
Mm-hmm. Once you tap all that raw buried crap,
Yeah.
and even just writing it, sitting there by yourself, totally
I
different.
couldn't, and I
than
could not
saying
cry
the
for him.
words.
I could not cry for Marty until just now.
Really?
Yeah, all these years. Where were we? Sylvester. I just want to clear my
you tell a
eyes.
fried chicken story.
I got to tell you, Sylvester, a little story. Came into a studio one day. We're mixing. I think it was "You Make My Body Strong." I'm going to back up on this. This is. I got to tell you the 2 tons of fun story first. Fantasy Records. We were doing a mixing thing and doing overdubs. My mom's in town. She's really proud of her son, Johnny, the producer, and all this. So I take her to Fantasy Records. And she is a huge major fan of Sylvester. Well, as luck would have it, or unluck, Sylvester wasn't there that day. But we were doing overdubs with the 2 Tons of Fun, who are better known as the Weather Girls. Mom's sitting there, and they're singing, I think you make my body strong, or whatever. Out of the blue, we had to pause for a second. They were big women, all right? They each, on each side of them, had these huge frickin' turkey legs, chomping on this. My mother, to this day, kept talking about them chomping on that thing and putting it down, and then really breasting, you make my body strong. And that's my 2 Tons Weather Girl story.
Okay, let that guy go. Like a million little jets going the wrong way just because they know you're here.
It's a weekday, too.
I know. It's usually Friday.
Right, Bruce.
But the wind must be turning everything around. Okay, whatever that was.
Okay, we'll wrap it up. Sylvester. Sylvester came back home one day while we were in the studio. We were checking the artwork and, running the tapes or whatever. And he said he just got out of jail. Totally shocked. And it turned out there was somebody that stole his identity. This is back in the day. Somebody stole his identity and pretended they were Sylvester in New York City and were robbing jewelry stores and all this. So Sylvester with jewelry was known for jewelry. Put 1 and 2 together, the cops did that. So they had him in jail. And just a little trivia thing, I'm sure there was a news story on that, but he finally cleared that up and everything was fun. Sylvester, what a card. I still remember Sylvester riding around in the neighborhood. I used to live in the Upper Market area in the Castro, and here's a big girl on a little moped. It was so funny. I still see this to this day. But those were our disco stars, man. Patrick Cowley, Sylvester, Joe Carroll, Barry Blum, Tip Warwick, Linda Imperial, Paul Parker, Moby Dick Records. It's just amazing, the pool of talent that came out of San Francisco during these wild, crazy, liberating days of gay pride. I think that because of disco, we gained a power because we would get grouped together and talk about politics and getting this and protest. There would be a thing where if something politically was going wrong that we didn't like, that was discriminating against gay people, we would go out of the bars into the street, out of the bars into the street. I had to do that microphone thing many times, like especially when I worked in the Castro, and that was the thing. And we did get out of the bars into the street, and I think disco was a major, major part of gay liberation, getting it out to the media and showing our power.
Nice strong finish there.
Yeah.
Actually, you nailed all those names in a row. You really hit that. It was a good, strong...
Good. I don't think I forgot anybody.
I don't think so.
So I have the emotional kick now, huh?
Yeah, it does. It does something for you, though. It starts to pump some adrenaline through your body, which is kind of what you need. Yeah.
If I forgot somebody, whatever.
No, that
I think
was
we
good.
got it.